So this big, large box has finally arrived here from Vivo, and this is the Vivo X300 Ultra photography kit. So it has those two telephoto extenders, the 200mm and the 400mm, and this is my unboxing and first impressions of the X300 Ultra from Vivo.
Box is so huge that I can't really fit it in with my overhead cam rig, but you see the photographer kit really nicely packaged up. Now, I don't know if you can buy this separately, this whole kit altogether. It might just be for tech YouTubers, for just these videos here. So when you lift that up, you're then presented with here a factory sealed X300 Ultra co-engineered with Zeiss. And it's lifting up on these little tabs here. You can then pull out that box. But what I want to focus on is this compartment right here. So imaging kit here includes, with this one, at least for us, we get both of them. So we get the Gen 2 tele extender, which is the 200mm, and then the Gen 2 Ultra, they call it. The Ultra is the 400mm. So it's the big lens, and we've got it all right here. So we have the case, nicely presented here, the grip. So this grip has an internal battery, and the capacity of that one, well, it's telling me there that it's 2,300 milliamp hours we get, and good to see it's got a thread point there for mounting it on a tripod. Quality of that looks really good. I'll get that mounted shortly. And the quality of all of this is excellent, and I like it in the silver because last year it's in that, well, it was black really, and it was a little bit prone to fingerprints and things. And here you can see not so much. So you got a little protective case over the lens of the 200mm lens. So this is all partnered and co-engineered with Zeiss. So you're using the Zeiss optics in this, and there's that big one. Wow, that is huge. But an impressive 400mm. Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. And I'll be doing a quick test, of course, of that. That's the purpose of this video. Here we do have the support for those cameras. So the tele converter extenders, tele zoom extenders. And this is very important because you want good stability when you are using lenses. So we've got this part to it, and we have the other that just locks into it. And for some reason, I can't seem to get this out of the box. Whoa, there we go. So there's two different sizes because we have the 400mm and then the 200mm. So I'll just put those quickly aside. What else do we have? Well, the case. So you have the rings there that you can replace. So 67mm. This is the mounting ring. So press this in and you can pull that off. So yes, you can use ND filters. So you can have one of those over there, as long as it's 63mm, slot it onto it, and I'll be probably using one of those later, but I don't happen to have one on me. One is not included. So we do get a little bit of paperwork, so quickly just to go over that, is talking about the tele photo extender, the imaging grip kit, and, well, all of that paperwork. So we won't really bother too much about that. There is right here another little cap. They've given us two spares for some reason. That's for the 400mm, don't know why. And in this box right here, it looks like we might have the lanyard. Perhaps. No? Okay, no, we've got some more rings there, okay? So they've given us various different rings that you can use. It's a 67 mounting ring. So that would again be for the ND filter. And there is another one right here, filter adapter too. So, wow, they are including a lot with this pack here, Vivo, which is really good to see. Loving this presentation. Finally, this must be the lanyard. So we do have that strap here. So how on earth do we get into this? Okay, it just comes out from the side. There we go. So the camera strap, this is going to clip onto the case because we have those 2 points here, as you can see. All right, so that will clip on. Then you can put this on and have it clipped around your neck with a little quick release right here. So you press that in, that comes out. So we saw something similar with the last year's telephoto kit, the whole camera kit, the lens kit. So great, there we go. And finally, one last little thing here, which is, I believe, what must this be? This could be a little button for the button. No? Oh, okay, they've given us a spare. Always good to have one of those. I guess if we break one, they do give us the spare. So wow, there's a lot included, as you can see here, with all of that. So the lens supports, the case, the mount, the grip there, the 200mm and 400mm. Impressive stuff. And this here really is the battle of the Ultras because both the big Ultras, the Oppo Find X9 Ultra and then the X300 Ultra going global. So they're going to go head to head. And yes, I will probably have a camera comparison at least of both of those to find out which is the best. So it comes factory sealed here as it should. If you're buying one of these new, make sure that it is all wrapped up like this, because if it is not, I would start asking questions. Is it actually a demo unit? Has it been used? Has it been opened up? And we'll check out the contents, what they do give us. Hopefully a charger, because not everyone, of course, is including chargers now. So the phone, let's put that aside for just a second and check what else is included. So we get a standard TPU style case, so like we got with the previous models here, which does look pretty good. That's going to fit it perfectly, of course. There is some paperwork here, so that is typical quick start guide and important information warranty card. And we get the SIM tray tool. And then, yes, we are getting everything. So that means we get the cable, we get the charger. So type C to type C, which is good to see, not using type A to type C. They were previously, I believe. And our charger. So UK style plug, and this is probably because I've got the Hong Kong version here as well that's come out. So that's their flash charge that is included. A little bit bulkier because of the style of the plug we do get, and just that single type C port at the back of it there. Now this charger is up to 100 watts max, but look at all the supported different voltages there that it's going to cover there. So it will be a charger that you can pretty much use for basically everything up to 100 watts. So first thing I noticed with the phone is that, yes, it's a little bit chunky, and I did see it back in MWC, and that was the first impression, was that the camera module really does jut out because of all the hardware that's in there. You can see, look at it side on, that, wow, that is quite chunky indeed. So power button, volume up and down, antenna lines right there, curved edges, nice metal frame. And you can see with the Ultra here, just take a look at the difference in the thickness. I can't talk much about the Ultra because it's still under a, well, part embargo still. I can show you the design, but not really much more. But you can see here, the clear difference in that thickness between both of those. And this, as I said, it's going to be the real battle between these two Ultra phones when it comes to Android flagships. So going over the design a little bit more, we got our SIM tray. It takes 2 nano SIMs, of course, no micro SD, no 3.5mm headphone jack. Right here, we have our Type-C port that supports video out, loudspeaker, microphone there up the top, the ports there for the loudspeaker, more antenna lines, and you can see here that there is a little red accent to this. Now, I think it looks good. It's both of them good-looking phones here. It really depends on what you do prefer. And I can see already the smudges coming through, and that's something that, because of this vegan leather, the Find X9 Ultra is a little bit more resistant to that. Of course, the star of the phone is all about these cameras right here. So you can see, obviously, that's our periscopic zoom camera. And this is where things kind of get a little bit crazy, because they went, well, crazy with that camera hardware. So 200 megapixel main sensor. We've got that 200 megapixel periscopic. So the main sensor is the 35 millimeters. Again, we had that with the X200 Ultra. 85 millimeters is the periscopic one. So that's that one right there, you can see. So that is 3.7 times optical zoom. It can also shoot macros there. And our ultra wide, which is, this is nothing. And the ultra wide is this one right here. That is 14 millimeters, 50 megapixel sensor. So it's two 200s and then one 50 on the back. T-Star coating there from Zeiss. So there's a lot going on with the hardware. It looks like a rear microphone right here. And we've got laser autofocus, color spectrum sensor, which I believe is this little tiny sensor or camera right there. And overall looking quite good. But yeah, it really juts out. Okay, so camera kit's on, because this is what I really wanted to look at, and I wanted to point out a couple of things about this, so bear with me. People that like details, that's why you watch my videos, right? Well, here, that is a nice, oh, am I marking it? No. A nice rubber coating to it with this little tiny texture you can see. Gives it a lot of grip, also on the actual camera grip itself. So I've put on already the adapter plate, and to do so is just like when you're putting on a lens on a mirrorless camera. So you need to line up first the little tiny, you can see the dot there, to this little triangle. So the triangle is when you first align it, and then you turn, you'll hear a click. Now, I've already noticed a couple of things. Not to criticize the build, but it is very good. However, look at this. There's some play in that, tiny little bit. I wish it would clip in a little more solid. And if you give the phone a shake, yes, you can hear the periscopic camera in there and probably the ISO and stuff just moving about. That's normal. They all do that. And even the Ultra has a little bit of that. So very easy to do that, to put on the extender. The grip, I'll just show you because it's locked into place now. But to unlock it, you push that forward and you can then slide it off. So the thing you have to do is just line up here the Type-C port without me throwing the phone around, and line up those two little slots either side. Okay, so that then slots in like so. You hear it clip and it feels good. So the grip nice and wide, and I can easily there with my index finger hold down. Now doing so, as soon as you do this, you're going to launch the camera app, although I'm currently in some other app, so it's not letting me do that. And when you press down, you've got two stage with this button. So you have the first is to focus, press and take the photo, zoom control, function, video recording, and right here we have another little dial that you can customize these. There's a little button there for the flash. So the build is good. The case is plastic. This part is plastic. It might look metal, but it is plastic. This adapter is made out of alloy, and it's a matte finish to it. So that feels very good. It's just that minor little movement there. All right, so to get a lens on then, you can see here the lens, quite big. This is the 400mm, so protective dust cap, remove that. You've got this on the end that screws into place. Now I found with the Oppos that these were quite loose and I lost them. So that is good to see. It's a little bit tight there. So same concept, you got to find the little triangle, well the little dot here, and line it up first with the triangle. So the triangle is the one to get on. All right, I think I'm lining that up wrong. And, oh, it doesn't seem to want to work. Okay, no, sorry, it's here, that little line. Okay, not, that triangle's on the outer ring, of course. I get myself confused there. So it's on, and then you turn it, you hear a click. Tiny little bit of play with that, and there it is. You now have that huge 400mm lens on this. I mean, look at that. That's, wow, it's huge. And yes, does it add a bit of weight? You certainly do feel it. So you want to probably use that support for the lens so you can make sure that if you're going to be using this, that you have that lens supported, stabilized, and you will get the absolute best results when it comes to zoom photography, especially at that 400mm equivalent. Stabilization is key. So front-facing screen here, we are looking at a 6.82-inch screen, and this has a 1440p resolution, and it is covered with armor glass that they call it. So it's a scratch and, well, impact resistant glass that is supposed to be quite good. Now this is an LTPO AMOLED, so it goes up to 144 Hertz, the refresh rate. Pulse width modulation on it is very good because it is 2160. Dolby Vision support, HDR10+, very, very good screen. And then the brightness, I believe, is well over 1,000 nits with it. So it's quite a good screen as you'd expect in a flagship like this. So just looking here in the UI, we have Origin OS now with all models. So they ditched Fun Touch, and that used to be for the global models, gone now, which is really good. Some of the important settings that I will show you that we do have. eSIM, that is on board, which is good. I know that often comes up as one of those common questions. In battery here, we have a boost mode. I'll be using that later when I show you the Antutu score. I'll run a very quick benchmark on this. And there's a couple of things here for the battery that a lot of people like to know about. So bypass charging is there. We have, of course, the optimized charging. You can cap the charging of the battery to prolong its life there. So you set an upper limit of, say, like 80%. So a little bit like you would do with an EV. And we know that not fully charging and having a phone fully charged all the time is not a good idea, like for 8 hours at night or something. Reverse wireless charging there. It's all pretty straightforward there. And you get a battery health, which is good. Most phones have this kind of feature there too as well. And the typical other Android stuff that I won't go into. Now, there is a firmware update, all right, that I've just downloaded. I'm going to apply and restart that now before I show any camera samples. Just finishing up now a internal storage test. So a UFS 4.1, 512 gigabytes of storage in my unit here with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Blazing quick, so you can see sequential reads over 4,000, writes over 4,000, random access really good. And then mixed multi-random access, also extremely high. This is no slouch. And of course, powered by this Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, so top chipset here. There is a fingerprint reader aboard, which is ultrasonic. You can see the little circle there, and it's really quick. Now, animation didn't look quite as fast that time, but it is good, and it seems to be working every single time. So that's something we've had for a while now with them, is those ultrasonic fingerprint readers, and they are really good. All right, Antutu, and you can see the score is good. I was expecting around 4 million points for this chipset, but that's not a bad result. Yes, it heats up, feels quite a bit warm here around the frame to be as expected. And overall, in general, you can't really complain about the score, that it is looking excellent here. The performance is, as expected, just not the fastest for this particular chipset. All right, and into the camera mode, just go through some of the important settings. So we have the super macro mode that's there. You've got a lot of different settings, so you can swap over to your 14mm ultra wide, 35mm, 85, and that is the 3.7 times optical periscopic zoom camera, 200 megapixels, 170 is another preset, and 230. But you can go and zoom in all the way, not that you would want to, but 2,412mm focal length equivalent, and it's a grainy, blurry mess. I wouldn't bother really doing that. I don't normally go over 10 times myself personally with these phones. So we have our portrait modes. You can apply then the bokeh, so background blur setting, your aperture there. You have the different Zeiss lenses and styles, which are really nice to play around with those and just to check them all out. You have here your beautifying options. So for my samples and everything, I turn it off completely, even though sometimes it looks like there's still a little bit of skin smoothing or enhancement or something happening there. And then, of course, you've got the other settings in here, like landscape, night mode, and you have a few other things, and there's a lot in this, and I won't go absolutely over everything. But in the video mode, there's a lot here. So we've got audio options. This is something that they've focused a lot on, is the video performance. Now, Vivo with the X300 Ultra. So you've got concert, you have concert vibe, you've got indoor vocals. It just goes on. There's a lot of presets there for the sound. So pro video mode, this is really good. We get our audio meter here. You can check out the settings there at the top. So you shutter, frames per second, the ISO and whatnot, and swap over the cameras. Shoot and log, you can apply LUT files to as well, which is very good. And they have different cinematic styles too with the video performance. So there's a lot in here, a lot of different options. And resolution, so you've got 4K 60, 4K 120, so that's great for slow motion, and 8K 30. And there are even more settings here too as well. You can see in the more settings where you've got some useful stuff that I use a lot is the Ultra HD document. So plenty of settings in here. And for video, you can of course use the telephoto extender for photos and video. So it works with both. They haven't limited it or anything like that. So just a quick preview here and first look at the video quality with the front-facing 50 megapixel camera. This can shoot 4K 30 and 60, has electronic image stabilization, and it is a 24mm focal equivalent. So it fits enough in the shot here. This is my arm fully extended out. So it's not ultra wide, but wide enough that I think that's kind of like the sweet spot for those of us that do like to use front-facing cameras for vlogging. This is the ultra wide. I'm shooting at 4K 30 frames per second. It's 14mm, but of course when you're shooting video, it crops in a lot. So it's definitely not 14mm. Because of the electronic image stabilization, which by the way does look very steady. So I've got the 35mm preset. Now 35mm for video I'm not a huge fan of because I find it to be a little bit too close sometimes, but for portrait photos it's perfect 35mm, and for general photography I do like it. So we've got an 85mm preset, which is the 3.7 times optical zoom, a 170, just looking at the cross here. Now there is a bit of wind, so there will be some wind noise. And finally, 230mm here, looking at that cross. Over to camera samples, let me run you through them all. So 14mm at the moment, the ultra wide, bit of lens flare, looks a little bit oversaturated to me. 35mm, a little bit blowing out that shot. 85 millimeters now, we're using the 3.7 times optical zoom. This one looks pretty good, and you can see when I jump to 170 millimeter, changes quite a bit, the colors. 230, this is 10 times zoom now, still looking good. Then the tele converter at the 400 millimeters. So the big lens is now on there, and going through them, the presets, 800 millimeters, still looking very good. And even at 1600 millimeters, it's a usable photo. And then stepping up the zoom to a crazy 3200. Yes, it's starting to look a little artificial, but still, this coming from a phone, that is some seriously impressive zoom. Portrait mode, looking very good. This is 35 millimeters, so the background's blurred. They've touched it up. But when I turn it off, this is a standard photo mode. You can see it brightens the background, but you get all the strains are here. Then I take it up to 85 millimeters. Great looking shot, plenty of details. Skin tones look good. So do selfies. So this is just the 50 megapixel front facing camera. Now in portrait mode, you can see it has blurred the background. I did select f2.8. That's applying that artificially, of course. Great stitching, and it doesn't seem to be smoothing out my skin either, and nice blur to it. But the stitching, really impressive here. One that's really difficult is bright red hibiscus flower. This is using the Zeiss natural preset. Struggle with the reds, a bit of clipping. General photos seem good. Indoors in low light here. Not bad shots, a little bit of grain, but overall, they're good, brighter than what it really was. And another shot here of Vera, indoors, the 35 millimeter, coming in and looking really good, plenty of detail. This is the ultra wide, indoors, little bit of grain, but still quite a good shot, plenty of details, and again, the Zeiss natural preset. Typical Vivo, the low light is looking excellent, very good, bright, sharp, so many details there. Even with the ultra wide, not looking bad at all. And the zoom camera now, so that's the 85 millimeter, great considering its lower light conditions. And even the selfie came out all right. It looks way brighter than what it really was. Yes, I'm practicing my stupid YouTuber thumbnail face here.
So clearly Vivo's building on the success of the previous Ultra models. We've still got the 35 millimeter. A lot of people are going to be happy about that. I love 35 millimeter for portrait shots and general photography. However, for video, I find it to be a little too close, because don't forget 35 millimeters plus the electronic image stabilization cropping in a little bit, it is really reducing your field of view. And that is why I still prefer, say, the 23 millimeter or 24 for video. However, fantastic. What I'm seeing so far, the 3.7 times 200 megapixel camera, the telephoto extenders on this really increases that zoom range. Ridiculous, really, that you can go up to 400 millimeters with the big telephoto extender, and then you've got the 200 millimeters. Now, there is a backwards compatibility with the old model, so that is still present. So if you happen to have the X200 Ultra and you've got that camera kit, the extender, then you can get the others, I believe, and still use those, because it's still the same fitting to actually fit them on. So benchmarks look good. Battery life, it's looking very standard for what it is, 6,600 milliamp hours. Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, or the 8 Elite Gen 5, very good chipset too there as well. There's really a lot to like about this phone here. However, the real battle is this, I believe, and that's going to be between these two, the Oppo Find X9 Ultra versus the Vivo X300 Ultra. And I'll see if I'm going to make that video, because I really need to gauge the interest in this. I am late, no fault of mine, to the X300 Ultra, so that's why this video is later than normal. I'm not too sure if I will have a full final review of this, because committing 4 or 5 days of solid work on the phone to then get barely no views because I'm going to be like a week or so late, I'm not too sure that's going to really be worth the effort, the time, the investment for that, but we'll see. Depends on how this video does. But thank you so much for watching my first impressions of Vivo's X300 Ultra. Fantastic looking phone so far from what I've seen. If you love 35 millimeter and video performance, this is going to probably be the one to go for.